Yeah. You already know. You know exactly what it is. Jay Dizzle. I ain't got to tell you all the Liberation Minded meeting and all that. All you got to do is check the descriptions for that. I'm just going to wait for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Just wait for a minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to get into this. Like I said, this ain't going to be no hate. You know what I'm saying? It's really not. It's not going to be any inflammatory, any disrespectful, no derogatory statements. I'm not going to be using any, derogatory terms, anything like that. I don't even have to do that. You don't even have to do that. Because to tell you the truth is actually worse than any derogatory terms you could use. Because that's what they're actually afraid of. And I'm going to prove to you that they are waging war against us with receipts. And you could even check the link with the YouTube video that I made with Brother Malcolm Flex. Just some clips that I made from the show that we did Saturday. And I'm also going to read you some things that's just going to kind of show you the sentiment. So I want y'all to go ahead and give me a like, give me a share, you know what I'm saying, participate in the poll. I'm going to try to respond to comments, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the comments or not, to tell you the truth. But anyway, so what I want to do on this one, I'm going to give you a personal story from my life. I'm also going to refer you to some things that you can check out for yourself. And one of those things I'm going to refer you to, when I had Irritated Genie as a guest on my show a few years ago, and when I had Dawa Israel, also known as Dawa Netter. And let me also, I do got to share this a couple of times before I really get started, y'all. But also when I had Dawa Israel on the show, you should have seen the hate that people were displaying towards us. Now, keep in mind, you know how Irritated Genie gets down, but we didn't use any derogatory terms. All we were doing was speaking about the agenda. And every person that called in with hate were flaming obvious homosexuals, and they were also very racist. They was calling us nigger, tree-swinging monkeys, chicken and watermelon, just all kinds of derogatory terms that they were using, but we didn't even say anything derogatory towards them. All we did is said the facts. So even the post that I made earlier, for some of y'all that was commenting on it, you noticed that there was a person who came on to the page and basically he was trying to troll me. What he was attempting to do was to make me say something that he could deem offensive so he could report me to the gay mafia. And the gay mafia is a real thing, so no inflammatory statements. This is just a fact. So that's what he was doing. He was trolling, but he realized it wasn't going to work. And he also referred to me as being scared. He said something like, he came with that, that underhanded, passive aggressive shit, you know what I'm saying? Like a little bitch. That's how he came, because he was like, oh yeah, a real man, something like, oh yeah, it's a real man that's scared of another man dressed in a certain way. So I asked him to define what does certain mean. He said certain means feminine. So what they do is they try to make it seem like as if you're afraid or scared. See, scared is synonymous with phobia. So in other words, what they're trying to imply is that if we don't agree with men dressing like women, that means that we are scared. They're trying to imply that if we don't agree with their behavior, that constitutes us as being afraid or scared or homophobic. But I'm not afraid of gay people. I'm not afraid of One time I was actually afraid of a homosexual. Let me tell you this real story. All right, so I was in New York. I was in Manhattan years ago, right? Me and the homies, we drove out there, on some business and stuff. One of the homies was from Queens, you know what I'm saying? So we're in Manhattan and we're chilling, we're getting some food, we're kicking it, we're doing our thing, and we're single dudes, and we just rolling around Manhattan, and you know what I'm saying? Woo! From the distance, high heels, short skirt, wig, weave, whatever. So I'm like, yo, let's you know what I'm saying? We going over to check the situation out. So, you know, pull up, started, whoa, go. From a distance, as we're burning rubber to get the hell out of there, we hear, you know you want some pussy? In a deep-ass voice. I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So come to find out, we obviously was in a section of Manhattan that wasn't really agreeable to our taste because these brothers that happen to be wearing high heels, skirts, wigs, and all that, they look like they should have been playing linebacker for the New York Giants. I'm gonna tell you the truth. At that point in time in my life, I was actually afraid of homosexuals because he was some big, buff, gunned in, like I said, linebacker, New York Giant linebacker, lineman type brothers. So I was actually afraid because, like, what if they would have got a hold of us? And anyway, that's the only time I've actually been afraid for my life, you know what I'm saying, of homosexuals. But other than that, it's not about being fearful. It's just about not agreeing with the lifestyle. It's just about identifying that this is an agenda. I'm gonna read you something real quick. If y'all can give me a share and a like, that would be appreciated. Let me real quick invite a couple people to watch this because I do got a good brother that I think would like to see this. I want to see if my good brother Dawa Israel wants to come and chime in. Let me see here. One sec, y'all. And then if y'all have anything that y'all want to comment, what I'll do is I'll watch it on my phone so I could, you know, interact. Another thing I want to say is this. I really want y'all to check out the video. It's called The Gay Manifesto Exposed. It's a clip from the live stream that me and Brother Malcolm Flex did where he actually reads from the actual gay manifesto written by Michael Swift in 1987. Because speaking of which, the person that was attacking my page trying to troll me to get me to say offensive things just happened to refer to what Malcolm Flex read as satire. He referred, now check the irony of this. He referred to the gay manifesto as satire when they were talking about they're gonna rape men wherever they are. They're gonna change laws that outlaw homosexuality, and they're going to do all these things. And these things have actually came to pass. These things actually have came to pass. He calls that satire, and I'm pretty sure he's watching, or he will watch this. He referred to that as satire, yet Kevin Hart making jokes 10 years ago demands not only an apology, but not only did he have to lose his job hosting the Oscars, but also he has to now be an advocate for the LGBTQ, LMNOP, C3PO, RTD2 community for something that he said 10 years ago. So if that's not bully tactics, if that's not blatant, and if that doesn't clearly let you know that this is just not. So let me say this too, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I do not hate homosexual people. I don't. I actually have some homegirls who are lesbians, and I spoke with a couple of them, one in particular, and she herself told me that she is aware of the gay agenda and that she doesn't agree with it. And I have respect for this sister because she only pushes black stuff. She's not out there trying to gay flag it. So what I'm saying is, this is not an actual organic movement. This is something that comes from the top down. You see, if gay people were being shot down in the streets just because they're gay, I would have some sympathy. If gay people were being passed up on jobs, couldn't get proper housing, couldn't get loans for homes or to start their businesses based on the fact of their homosexuality, I would say I would feel sympathy, but I would also say that it's pretty, it should be a red flag, and it's probably not a good strategy if your identity before who you are as a person. So I've made this analogy a couple of times. I'm going to read this article in a minute, y'all. But I made this same comment before. Look, if I'm looking for a job, I wouldn't go to the person that I'm trying to get hired. I wouldn't go to the company I'm trying to get hired by and tell them my sexual preferences. I wouldn't tell them, hey, I like big butts and natural hair and chocolates. I wouldn't tell them these kind of things because that would be highly inappropriate. And that should be a red flag. So it's hypersexuality that a lot of these homosexuals want to identify with their sexuality before anything else. Okay, they want to work, but they want to let you know that they're homosexual first. They want to be in the army, but you have to create a whole new barracks for them because they want to go in there as gay soldiers. Not as soldiers who happen to be gay, but gay soldiers. So that it lets you know right there it's agenda, and it should be a red flag. We should be actually thinking maybe there's some sexual deviance going on. Another point I want to make before I get to this article, y'all. I want to make another point. Hold up. Another point I want to make is this: when it comes to the homosexual or transsexual, you see, especially the transsexuals, they want us to accept them for who they are, as I've seen a meme of and I've spoken on before. They don't accept who they are because they were born one gender or sex, but they want to be labeled as another. So they didn't accept what they came in this world as, but they want us to accept their transformation. They want us to accept and normalize them chopping off their own genitals so that they can live a life, a different kind of alternative lifestyle. That's a no-go. And the audacity of these people that will actually usurp our civil rights and human rights movement, where our people have actually died, and they'll usurp that over behavior. Because whether they're attracted to the same sex or not, that's one thing. But let's just keep in mind that it is a choice to have sex with people of the same gender. So they'll usurp our civil rights where our people died and have been going through oppression for over 4 centuries just right here in the United States. And they'll usurp that for a movement. And here's the coldest part of that. And this is what I want y'all brothers and sisters who are homosexual to understand. They use you as cannon fodder on the front lines of their movement. Why? Because they can't legitimize themselves as an oppressed group without you. Because without you, they're just a bunch of overprivileged, middle and upper class white people who want to get money for their movement, who wants to get sympathy for their movement, but it's going to be very hard for them to do that when they know that they disproportionately have high positions in corporate, in media, in politics. It's going to be very hard for them to convince the world and people in general that they're oppressed people when they're not getting shot down and killed. Thing that you could really point at, besides transsexuals who are sometimes killed, and the reason they're killed is because they falsely have sex with people, making them believe there's something that they're not. So even that Orlando shooting at that club years ago, when you really look into that, that was another gay person who went there because he had a personal gripe with someone who gave him an STD and also left him for someone else. See, at first they wanted to make it Al-Qaeda, ISIS, terrorism, hate crime. But as soon as all that information came out that the person that did the shooting was also homosexual, they had to back up off that story. Let me see if anybody's saying anything before I go to this thing. So Al-Kamar Malik said, I just left the Irritated Genie page speak on the exact same topic. This war is real and it's spreading rapidly. I'm gonna check that video. I didn't get a chance to see it. Let me see. Devitra Alexander, peace, family, peace, says TJ. Love the hat. You already know. Go Hawks. It is what it is. Jay Jacksonville, what's up? Never tell anybody else that story, bro. Man, that was a real story, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Muzzy Zulu, what's up? What's up? Kamar Malik, this is why this agenda is so effective, because we all have gay people who we love. Okay, let me, I didn't mean to just not read all of it, but let me say this, though. You're right. See, now here's why I say it's an agenda, and here's why it's a dangerous agenda at that. Because, you see, if it was really they're not being accepted for who they are, and the movement was really just to get people not to treat them a certain way or to accept them for who they are, that would be different. Most of us naturally will do that. Most of us have homosexuals that are in our family, or maybe that we know, that we don't treat them different. But it's more than that. It's more than just saying, the movement is about more than just saying, well, hey, they're being treated a certain way, and therefore, we should learn how to accept them for who they are. That's not what the movement is. The movement is actually to push this. And you know that because they go to children's schools now with transsexuals and homos, and they'll tell them they have to learn this. They tell these children who don't have any concept of sexuality, only naturally just know what it is, but they'll actually give them the option now, well, you can like guys or girls. So when they do that, they're pushing this agenda on them. So they're attacking the youth with this, because that's the only way that their movement can keep growing. Because if they were just to remain how they are, homosexual, they would be, in one generation, they'd be gone. So I understand if the movement was saying, hey, we're being oppressed and people aren't accepting us for who we are, we're just like everybody else, don't worry about what we do in our bed, it's our business. But they're making what they do in their bed our business, because they're pushing it on us. They're making us accept it. They're making us have to accept and also advocate for them. Now, but let me tell you this, how often do you see homosexual groups that are advocating for the justice of our people? And I'm going to read this article in a minute. How often do you see that? I'm not going to lie. I've been in certain situations in workshops and on the streets and class, different things that I do in the community for social justice, police accountability, things that we do in our community, where there may be homosexuals present or people who just happen to be gay present that are actually advocates for justice, but they're there as individuals, not as an organization. As an organization, they don't support our things, although they want us to support theirs. Let me see what else we got, man. Now let me go ahead and I'm gonna get back to this, man. What's up, Shabaka? Let me just get to this article real quick, because this is why I'm saying that they're waging war against us. Let me read this article real quick. Find it. Okay, so the LGBT community refuses to support Sandra Bland because of homophobic comments. Now check this out. I'm going to read you what she said, because what they're implying is that let me just read. I'm going to read like half of this real quick. Okay, the following is old news, but as of yesterday, it was entirely new to me and something we should discuss. This week, HBO has begun promoting their documentary, Say Her Name, The Life and Death of Sandra Bland, as it will appear on their platform in December. As her family travel campaign about the project, the response has been generally positive and the story should be told. But yesterday, I learned that there are some people who don't want to watch it because they believe Bland was homophobic. In a March 31 vlog, Bland shared her thoughts on the infamous debate in an Indiana pizza shop on whether businesses should be required to serve gay couples if they argue homosexuality go against their religious beliefs. Now, in a country that's supposed to be based on the Bible and morality and God, why is it wrong for someone to say that's against my beliefs? You know what I'm saying? Why is that? But here's what Sandra Bland actually said in the video. You tell me if this is homophobic or if this is hate. Here's what she said. She said, this is Sandra Bland, who they don't want to support this movie that's coming out. They don't want to support her, she was murdered for who she was, but they don't want to support her. TQ community don't want to support her because this is what she said. She said, this morning what's on my mind is this whole law that's trying to be passed in Indiana. People are upset because they feel that it discriminates against a group of people and against a certain culture. And my question is, what about all the laws and practices that have been in place since the beginning of time? What about that one big thing called slavery? That was quite discriminatory, yet it doesn't even get the same amount of attention as it should. We are still dealing with discriminatory laws in place from slavery that are still in effect today. So for everybody so mad about some business people choosing not to cater to being gay is a choice, being black ain't. That's just how I feel. You don't agree? That's okay. and I'm totally not against homosexuals. She says, I'm totally not against homosexual. I have homosexual family members, homosexual friends. That's their choice. I don't agree with it completely, but I feel that if a business chooses not to cater to that, that's their choice. Being black was not a choice, yet it's discriminated against every day. People who look like me are discriminated against every day. So while everybody's so mad about this one law, think about the millions of laws that have been passed based off of slavery practices. Now check this out. For centuries, there were laws that black people couldn't shop at certain white stores, that black people couldn't drink from the same fountain. When my mother had my newborn older sister, she stopped by a store in Denver, Colorado on her way from Louisiana up to Seattle. This store would not sell her food for my sister at the time, who was an infant. Now, of course, we know that these laws have been since passed, but they didn't pass it out of the morality or them changing their mind about how they feel about us. They only passed it because they understood that there was economically empowering to them for us to be able to spend our money with them. But that still took centuries. It took bloodshed just for that to happen. But here comes the homosexual agenda, and like that, they have usurped more power by using our movement. And now they will actually, the same thing that they legitimized their movement with, now they will attack it. And they don't want to give a sister that's deceased any respect. But they want us to give them respect. They want us to advocate for them. But they'll actually shun Sandra Bland, who was murdered. They'll actually shun Eric Garner as well, because I guess maybe his mom or something said some homophobic things as what they said. And that's also in the story, but I'm not going to read that. Let me get back to the live stream so I can see some of the comments. So the same people that's advocating, saying that they're being oppressed, the same people that's used our civil rights, the same people that's using us to validate their movement, don't even have the decency to stick behind us when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, our atrocities. See, if they really felt that you know, they need to partner up because they're oppressed and we're oppressed, then they would act like that, but they don't. They don't really care about us. They absolutely don't. And this is what we have to understand. See, this isn't about hate. And you don't have to even say anything hateful. They'll give you the litmus test and they'll say something like, well, how do you feel about homosexuals? Or how do you feel about men dressed as women? And if you say, well, I don't believe a man should dress like a woman, they'll say, oh, you're homophobic. Oh, you're preach, that's hate. It's hate, but it's not hate. We have a right not to. Here's another way you can tell that this is a war against us with this homosexual agenda. Because in Africa, a continent that for millennium has not had homosexual problem, or have not, the people there don't want homosexuality imposed on them. Yet what these Europeans and what these Americans will do is they'll say, well, if you don't make or homosexual marriage is legal, then we're going to cut the food aid. We're going to cut the financial aid, which is ironic because if they didn't exploit the resources, Africa wouldn't need any economic aid. They wouldn't need any food aid. So they'll use that, even though they'll try to bribe and blackmail African leaders to accept homosexuality or same-sex marriage, despite the fact that the actual people don't want that. As I spoke about before, even in France, here's how you know it's an agenda from the top down. Even in France, when President Sarkozy years ago announced that he wanted to make same-sex marriage legal, I think 1 million or 2 people protested against that. They didn't want it. So we fell back and the media blitz came in, and next thing you know, they were ready to accept it. So this isn't an issue about people being oppressed and have a right to live the way they want to, because they have a right to live the way they want to. What they don't have is a right to proselytize us and make us accept it. They don't have that right. They don't have a right to wage a war against us. And anyone who says anything about homosexuals, about not agreeing with it, you don't have to call them any derogatory words. All you have to do is say, well, you know, I don't agree with it, but do you? And they'll imply that you're homophobic. They'll imply that you hate gays. They'll imply that you're practicing hate. Now, let me see if I got any, if I missed out on any comments that I want to respond to before my phone dies. All right, so we got Geronimo Wilder. Just like racism is a tool of inconvenience to keep chaos and confusion, the gay movement isn't nothing but another tool of chaos and confusion. Okay. I can't even see all you guys' comments, man. Let me see. Y'all trying to chop it up. Make sure you take that poll, y'all. Take the poll. I just want to see. Just want to see where we at. Doing my research, as Star would say. And also make sure y'all check out Black I Stand Radio and like the page. Check out liberationmindedmedia.net. And I'm really trying to link up with other people with platforms that, you know, are unapologetic. You don't have to be on the exact same thing I am. But the reason why I want to do this, and the reason why we're trying to do this with liberationmindedmedia.net, to switch subjects for a minute, is because, as you can see, they're attacking anybody with high visibility. They're attacking our people in a way to neutralize our voice. So we really have to understand that so that we can fight back. Because we can't win this propaganda war if we don't have our own propaganda mechanism. We can't win this war to control our narrative if the people who keep on putting out this false information and the people keep on demeaning and devaluing, you know, saying our struggle, continue to have our mind, the minds of the people. So because CNN, Fox, and Hollywood can reach masses of our people and we can't, then when they take off voices from us, then it leaves us in a position where our narrative is being controlled by someone else. It leaves us in a position where we don't have a high visible media outlet where we can get to our people to organize and to mobilize, to raise money, to promote Black business and things like that. Instead, what we have to do is rely on them to report things. And I'm gonna tell you what, they don't report things that are in our favor. You know that. There are great things going on in communities. The new Black Panther Party is still active and doing great things in the community. The Nation of Islam, New Era Detroit, Huey P. Newton Gun Club. There are many underground grassroots organizations that are doing great things in the community. But if you're waiting on CNN and Fox and MSNBC to tell you, then you're never going to see them. And what that does is it creates a feeling within us that we feel like we can't win. That's a warfare in itself. So they love to broadcast our losses and they don't show us our victories. They love to broadcast their victories, but they don't show us their losses, and they're taking big L's. So in order for us to counter that, in order for us to be able to reach our people, first of all, we have to be able to validate our own media, liberationmindedmedia.net. Holla at me. And we have to also understand, listen, we do have Black platforms as well. So I know some of y'all, you know, you get flagged and we get flagged and all this stuff for the things that we're saying. And understand that we also have melanatedpeople.net, which is like a Black Facebook. We also have Black Junction TV. We also have Black Enough. We have our own websites, social media sites that we need to start taking advantage of so we can reach our people unapologetically and we don't have to worry about people neutralizing or trying to minimize our voice. So, and I'm saying like this too, I'm encouraging y'all out there that see this. A couple things I want to encourage y'all to do. I want to encourage y'all to share independent media. I want to encourage y'all to share stories that make us feel good. Share stories of Black families working together. Share things that will inspire us, and let's not share as much ratchetness. Let's lift each other up. Let's do that going into the new year. Let's lift each other up. Let's buy Black. We don't have to hate, and we also don't have to always focus on them. We do have to understand what's going on, but we don't have to focus on them. We can focus internally on ourselves. And as we do that, we'll be able to change the things that we can change, and the things that we can't change won't really even matter so much. But I wish I could really check out these comments. Let me see if I could see, because I know what always happens when I'm done. I see a whole bunch of comments that I never got to. Okay, there we go. I see a whole bunch of comments that I never got to respond to, and there are things that I could have really built on. So I don't want to miss that opportunity, because I do appreciate y'all tuning in and checking us out. But I do encourage you to go to my YouTube page, Nettercat. You can hit that link, watch that video, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to build this up. Black I Stand Radio will be resuming in January. We're going to be kicking it off again in January. LiberationMindedMedia.net is going to get a makeover, and hopefully we're going to be able to add some more platforms. And the reason we want to add as many platforms as we can is the reason why we want people to share the site is because when we can build up enough clicks then people will pay to advertise, and then we can split that money between some of the platforms to advertising for marketing. You know what I'm saying? And we can have a one link, liberationmindedmedia.net, where people can buy black, where people can see. Right now we have about 8 different platforms on there, independent black media. We have The Rundown with Renee, we have MBK, we have Black Guy Stand Radio, we have Do the Knowledge Radio, we have My Skin is My Sin, we have Black Power Radio, we have Shabaka's Black Experience, we have different places where you can commerce. We have Renee Black Graphics. So those who, you know, she does a lot of graphics for a lot of people in the conscious community. You know, so what we're trying to do is expand that. We have products that you can purchase so we can rep, you know what I'm saying? So we want to be able to expand that and have our voice out. We want to be able to add even comedians. We want to be able to add even sports commentary. We need correspondents on the ground that can report news that's going on in their communities that's not going to make the major news. That way our people can know what's going on, and we can know what different kind of programs or that people have programs where people can get resources, or programs and support to be able to engage in their community more effective. So we have to look at ourselves as a nation. And Liberation Minded Media ain't the only media. There's all kinds of different people, good brothers and sisters that has great media platforms that's giving a lot of truth. You know what I'm saying? There's KTL Media, for instance. There's Straight Black Talk. There's you know, African History Network. You know what I'm saying? There's a plethora of them. So we need to start validating those. We need to start consolidating and organizing and working together and not seeing ourselves as competition. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. I'm not going to be able to respond to everybody's comments, man, but I'll hit you on the backside. If you don't follow me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. You can go to Qualibo C on Instagram. Just check out all the links that you see there and check it out. You see something you like, you know what I'm saying? Tap in. Appreciate y'all's time. I'm out. Peace. Share this.